Hey! You! Listening to this podcast right now! Do you want to hear a fucking podcast about anything and everything? Like movies, music, television, and more?
Oh my god.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Yes.
Subscribe to Journey into Comics Network, and you get Podcastrophe, hosted by me, Dick. Why not throw a couple bucks to the Patreon? It's your choice. Yeah. This is a Podcastrophe.
That sounds so awesome.
The following
Following.
is a Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
It's a journey into comics.
Is a Journey into Comics.
Journey into comics.
Journey into Comics.
Network.
Production.
Hi everyone, welcome back. This is episode 10 of season 2 of Adulting Ain't Easy. I am joined by my host and my wife, Liz.
Hello.
And as always, I am Andrew. Definitely want to thank you for joining us here this week as we talk about something that's always fun. What are we talking about, Liz?
I'm talking about complaining, and it's actually not about Africa. Ha ha ha. Now you're free of all that talk.
Yes. Our summer adventure is we've finished talking about it. Not that we won't bring it up much more times before we're done, but we're taking a nice little break and talk about other things. So if you've been sick of Africa, now is your chance to tune back in.
Yep. So I was thinking about it because I don't know, just thinking about adulting and whatever, and I always think complaining is like, I feel like the whole point of the show is to complain. So I was like, maybe we'll do something about like what. So I found an article that from Thought Catalog. It says 16 things people complain about way too much. So I thought we'd go through it and share kind of what we agree with or disagree with on their points, and if we have any extra points. And then I also found a list of things we should be complaining about. You know, getting all a little political or whatever. I don't know.
Which is right up
I
my
haven't even looked at that one yet.
All right.
All right. So let's get started. So the first one, and I'll read each part, and then we can kind of talk about it. So the number one thing that people complain about is slow but free Wi-Fi. It's free 99 on the house, costless, $0. Buy none, get one free. The world mourns for you if that YouTube video takes a few extra moments to load. But please, for the love of gifts, stop criticizing free Wi-Fi before coffee shops respond to these complaints with faster internet at a fee. I don't know if that's really like a problem. I don't really have a problem with it.
The one time I really noticed it, well, I'm going to bring it up, it was when we were in Africa. Was the Wi-Fi was not what we were used to. Everything took load. You couldn't, like, Facebook wouldn't load properly. Social media wouldn't load properly.
I feel like that's not like a valid...
But I've never, like... We're always on 4G and we have unlimited data, so we're never, like, in a part
so
that we're
I don't think that should be, like, a big complaint.
I'm sure if you didn't, like, before I had unlimited data, when I was just Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi the best I could, I was always like, just download so I can move on. If I was downloading like a podcast or whatever, just so I could listen to it later. If it wasn't loading, like sometimes I would load. I'd be in the car in the driveway trying to download something because I'm just slightly out of the range. I was like, I need to download this before I get in the car, so I'm not streaming it the whole way to work.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like that's not super valid. I
No.
think we have good internet, and people have... I feel like... Let me see. When was this written? 2013. That's a 2013 problem, not 2019. Number 2, lengthy waits in the drive-thru. Unless you're going to sit in air conditioning with music for a bit, then a hand is going to pop out of a window with a bag of hot food and you'll be on your way. How is this not considered some king-queen type treatment? If the employee is rude, that's one thing, but if they get your order wrong, they're human, or Taco Bell, and what we gain in fast food, we sometimes sacrifice in accuracy. I think that's like another... I feel like everyone's...
I've seen you complain, though, in a drive-thru. Portillo's especially.
So Portillo's is a little different. Because
and
it's
Culver's.
like and Culver's, because you like
they're the slowest of the fast food.
Yeah, but you kind of make up for that wait in the quality of food that you're getting. So it's like, So sometimes it's worth the wait, but other times, like, if it's right at, like, 6 o'clock and you roll into the Portillo's drive-thru, like, whoa, you're going to be waiting for a long time.
Right.
But they try to, like, make up for it. So, like, that's totally,
Right.
like, that's something that, like, I understand going into it. I'm like, all right, well, if I want Portillo's, I'm going to be waiting in a long line if I want to go through the drive-thru. Like, when you think McDonald's,
But,
you're
like, if you ever get, in your McDonald's, you ever get that thing where it's like, oh, can you pull up to Bay 2 and wait? Like, that's the worst. Mm-hmm. Like, I literally want a cheeseburger. You make 12 a minute. Like, come on.
Yeah, you would know. You used to work there.
I do. And I know, like, it's a pretty well-oiled machine. It's just, it's the certain times people are stupid.
Yeah.
And, and if they want something, like, especially fresh, that's when it slows everything down.
Yeah, or like...
And if the person in front of you wants everything fresh,
Then
it backs up.
ruins everything. Mm-hmm. Or the person who wants the no salt on their fries.
Well, that's how you get fresh fries. Mm-hmm. And just don't get fries like 8 p.m. on a weeknight. Like, you're not going to get good quality. Excuse me.
Good quality fries. But maybe at 8 o'clock at night on a weekday you don't want good quality fries.
You want?
You know, you want the shitty stuff because you're drinking. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
That's a whole nother thing.
right.
But yeah, I can understand that one. That one I can get. I get test as much as I'm what's it called? Patient during the day. Sometimes with food I'm like, I need it now.
I get that completely.
Wait my whole day for children to do something, and sometimes I want something instantly, but I know.
Well, sometimes, like, the coffee line on the wait... Like, if you stop and get coffee, like, I don't do that very often. I know you sometimes do. Like, the drive-thrus for, like, Dunkin's can sometimes be long.
Dunkin's usually pretty quick. It's Starbucks that takes a while. So it's kind of like you
I really
have
don't
to
do Starbucks unless someone I'm with really wants it.
Yeah, I don't know. It like sometimes I have to do like an analysis, like the pros and cons of going to Starbucks. Do I really want it, or should I just go to Dunkin'? Because I know they'll get my order right. B, it'll take less time. And yeah.
Right. I don't think I've had Starbucks since. Well, I guess that's since we went with the trio. And that was the last time we had it.
Do they know that you call them the trio?
I don't know.
Because now they do.
That doesn't matter. But yeah, so yeah, I'm not sure. It'll have to be. I really don't have issues too much in line. Usually, I luck into a good time to either go if I am going to like a place for fast food, or I'm expecting to wait.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, well, this one is obvious.
Okay.
40-hour jobs, especially those who are granted a Monday, Friday, 9 to 5 schedule. You could have no job at all. You could work on weekends. You could be fighting for 25 hours at a retail store that has ruined wearing red and khakis for an eternity. It could be worse.
That is true.
And I don't know. I know we complain about it, but
it's just
what it's called work.
It
you
is
know.
work.
If it were fun, it'd be called fun. Like how people say they're like, oh yeah, you should work something you love. I'm like, well, I do love children, I do love teaching, but god damn it, do I hate the work. I hate the other parts. If I could choose my hours to teach kids, sure, that sounds great.
Like if you can enjoy what you're doing, but still would rather do other things than do it.
Yeah, there's some days where I'd rather just be able to take my time off and like clean my house, or like or like run errands that I need to run instead of after school, or be able to take appointments at 10 o'clock in the morning because everybody and their uncle decides to take the doctor's appointments that are right after work.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
But
it would be nice, and I definitely agree. That's the one thing that's always a struggle. Sorry, there's a squirrel with half a tail. Like,
poor baby.
But yeah, that's one of the things. It's like there's so many things I'm always when I'm like I don't have enough time because it's like once you get home, have dinner, do what you need to do. Oh, it's 7 o'clock, and then you got I got an hour of daylight, and then all this stuff I need to do inside. So I guess I'm not mowing today, or I'm not doing this today. Mm-hmm. And then you stack up a to-do list, and then I'm sure complaining about time is probably on there, or lack of sleep and all that. I'm sure those are down the list. But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I don't mind I just don't. I don't like it when before when I was like an hourly employee and you get overtime, but like when you're on the strict 40-hour salaried work and end up working over like a 9-10 hour or more day, and I'm sure there's people who who do get like a salary or end up working like 12-hour days, but God bless them. But if I'm working longer, like if I'm still at work and it gets to be like 5:36, I am not a happy camper.
Yeah, I don't
Our
blame
bird is
you.
not a happy camper right now.
No.
You're gonna hear him probably pick it up on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But at least with your schedule, for the most part, you go in and get off about the same time.
Well, that's my choice as a lazy teacher.
Right, but you can go in earlier than you do need to.
I do, but
as opposed to staying later.
I consider myself sometimes the lazy teacher because I leave a little earlier than some of my other coworkers. But it's like I get there at 7:30 every day, and I'm like, with being a special ed teacher, like the last few days at work, I've been like just staring at paperwork, and like honestly, if I have to look at another like amendment form, I might explode because I'm just like so done with like and that's it. Just sometimes with like IEPs and stuff, it's just so like you just want to like leave, and that's what I do. I'm like, I use my plan time. I hate using my lunch, but sometimes I have to. It's just like I don't like what a lot of teachers run into is like the teaching becomes your life. And, like, I get that, but it's, like, it shouldn't be your whole life. You need to have a life outside of your job as well. Like, you can't be a teacher 24/7. That's just not how it works.
Right.
I feel like you'd be broken as a human if you did that. Unless you're a really good perfectionist and organized and whatever. Me, I try to be as organized as I can, but I also have my limits. Because
Right.
I really like to watch my TV at night and unwind and, like, not have to worry about work for, by the time I go to bed or whatever,
Right. I don't know how my mom does it. She spends all day hanging out with like 4 and 5-year-olds, and then sometimes goes to work a night job. Like I would be perpetually exhausted.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, but you have to do it because you're not really making a ton of money.
No.
And I'm worried that that's what's going to turn into me. Like I'm going to have to get a second job or something, and like then I'll just be perpetually exhausted and burnt out, and
like
that's not what I want.
I would just never see you.
Yeah,
because like most night jobs, you would go in at like between 5 and 6 and work till 10. Mm-hmm. And you want to go immediately to sleep because you get up at 6 o'clock for the next, and it would pile up.
I wouldn't like it at all.
No.
No.
Okay, what's the next one?
The next one is weather. It says, Step 1, dress accordingly. Step 2, don't feel inclined to complain about chilly weather in the winter. I mean, the later months even give you a fair warning of their names. October, November, December. But there is no January, February, but not January. It's kind of not. But I don't know.
January.
I tried to stay away from complaining about the weather. I like to get excited about the weather. Like, the past couple weeks, it's been actually, like, pleasant in our school since we don't have air conditioning and the temperature has been kind of cooler recently.
It's hot today.
Yeah, so I try not to complain about it when it's hot, but I like get excited. Like, oh yes, it's a nice like cool day. The building's not going to be that hot. Like it's so nice. I usually try not to complain about it because I know I always know that there's worse weather coming. Like, know that this winter is probably going to be rough and like. Yeah, it's just I don't like complaining about the weather because I know that there's worse weather that people deal with.
Right. I tend to talk about the weather more than complain about it. Like this morning when it was just like pounding rain and thunder, and I'm just like, can you just like wait a little bit so I can sleep? Because it woke me up, and I'm just like, once I get woken up in the morning, it's usually really hard for me to go back to sleep or get like a full rest of sleep. I like doze in and out for the next hour. Because like it went off fully at like 5, and I was just like, oh, why?
Yeah. Just
a few more minutes. But, yeah, but it's not... I know there's people who live like... People right now are still dealing with the hurricane after effects. And there was an earthquake in California. Like, we have pretty mild weather by comparison.
Yeah, I saw a meme the other day that said, like, Chicago has no tornadoes, no hurricanes, no earthquakes, just pizza... a shit ton of taxes and the occasional shooting.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
That is accurate.
So, it's like, yeah, that pretty much describes Chicago in a nutshell. All right, next one is flying. But I can understand about flying, but we'll get to that in a second. It says aluminum in the sky you can see twice as high. Take a look or read a freaking book because it's really not that bad. Seriously though, we're granted these gorgeous views of the earth and we complain about it. Can the pre-flight process be tedious? Yes, but we need it that way for our safety. Look, you get to watch movies or browse the internet while sipping Coke and eating pretzels. Appreciate that the entire concept of flying makes absolutely no sense and is the most amazing form of travel common folk have bestowed upon them.
Yeah, I have no issue really once I'm on the plane. It's just the process
I do.
before and after.
I think it's valid to complain about flying because, let's be real, I would say probably about 75% of the time, maybe 70% of the time, there's something wrong with the plane, and there's always a delay.
Well,
there's 9 times out of 10 when I'm flying, there is some sort of delay, something wrong with the plane, we have to sit on the plane for X amount of time, and, it's just too cramped. They need to give us more room.
They'll never do that. They want to maximize seats, to maximize revenue.
I'm going to have to freaking pay for more money seats,
and that's what they want you to do, because then they make more money. That's all. Like, if they could have us standing the whole time and fit more of us in, that they would.
Yeah, no, that'd be bullshit. No, but I can understand flying. Flying is gross. Flying, you don't know how well these people clean the planes. I'm sure some are really good and some are really not.
They found rats on planes before.
Well,
in the walls.
But then also you think, people are sick on the plane. You have this stale air that's circulating for however many hours you're on there.
How often they shampoo the furniture?
Yeah, how often they shampoo the furniture.
We've seen, when you get off the plane, you see that they're picking up garbage, they're lightly vacuuming, but they're not, deep cleaning between sets of passengers. Even on, a plane that we were on for 12 hours. They do the bare minimum to get it loaded up and fueled up and back on the next.
It's gross. And
it is, and that's why people get sick a lot, is because there's so many different germs and people from all over. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing to complain about, is it is very tight.
It's tight, and it's uncomfortable, and you're sitting next to people, and you're just it's just awkward.
Coffee lady. Still better.
Yeah, but, I feel like flying is definitely... There are some instances
if I could drive everywhere, I would. Mm-hmm. If I could be in control of my schedule, my destiny, I'm a lot like my parents. And picking up people from the airport is a whole other thing to complain about. Because trying to communicate with someone's you have to be at this point this time because I can't just stop. I need to...
Yeah, well, there's certain ones that are that are probably better for that than others, but the one by our house, O'Hare, it's
it's a giant airport.
Good luck, everybody.
It's probably the 6th largest airport in the state. Or in the country.
Or in the world. I don't know. It's a really big
those Asian flights are ridiculous. Even Cape Town was a pretty bustling airport when we were there. It was a night flight, so it wasn't as bad, but it was ginormous. Mm-hmm. And still pretty crowded at 10 at night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that. Okay, so what's next?
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm that one I'm allowed to complain about because it's just, everything is just worse at the airport. That's what I think, at least.
And no one's happy to be there. The TSA's not happy. The employees there are not happy. You're not happy.
Everyone's just grumpy.
The one thing is, if it goes smooth, though, you are so pleasantly surprised. If it runs how it should, you're oh my god, that was the best TSA experience of my life.
It's almost like your sense of epiphany. Oh my gosh, this does exist.
I just love small airports though because it's so simpler. It's just even the ones I've been to Greensboro, Indy, which is even that small, but just compared to O'Hare, Peoria, they're all just because there's such less people they see. You get that much better one-on-one, and it's just so much smoother. Mm-hmm. You look fine. Your back looks good. Just go on the plane. You're good. All right, sweet.
You don't look like you're going to shoot up this place. Go ahead.
You don't have a bomb. You're fine. Don't say bomb.
Mm-hmm. All right, next one is the toilet seat being left up. You can take 0.3 seconds to put it down yourself, or 45 plus minutes arguing, giving a lecture on your preferred condition of the porcelain thrown upon arrival. I really don't care.
Neither do I. I personally, it's my ours pretty much always stays down.
It's mostly with. I I don't know.
And I feel like you're always using, at least for the most part, a gender-specific bathroom, so it's not like you have to run into someone else leaving it up or down.
Mm-hmm. It's usually just at home.
And ours is usually down.
Yeah.
About, like, 80% of the time.
I think you just do it on, like, just kind of out of habit for some reason.
I just do it, it's probably lazy, I just don't want to lift it up every time. I'll do it on occasion, and I always drop the seat when I'm done. Mm-hmm. Like, the whole seat, like, both lids down.
Yeah, I put both lids down, too. Mostly because we have cats, and, like, they might
I'm worried
go...
they would jump in or try and drink from it. They're just weird.
Because we've caught Daisy a few times drinking out of the toilet, and...
Yeah, like, if I'm not in a hurry, like, definitely just, like, throw it down. Especially because it's a slow-closing lid, so you just, like, tap it and then just leaves and it'll close on its own.
Yeah, not too... I wouldn't waste 45 minutes complaining about toilet paper. Or not toilet paper.
We can complain more about toilet paper than toilets.
Yes. That's true. Because toilet paper is...
The giant roll.
I love the giant roll. Don't knock it. I love it.
It's just, we need a different thing if we have the giant roll.
You mean the toilet paper holder?
Uh-huh.
You're starting to sound like Opa when we tell... Sometimes we'll say, like, thing, and we'll, like, one of us, like, Andrew and I will know what we're talking about, but if someone on the outside... Like, we're talking about something, we say, oh, the thing. And Andrew's like, yeah, the thing. And someone else is like, what thing are you talking about?
It's like when your grandparents refer to a thing, but the thing's actually a person, and they both still know it's a person. They'll say, like, thing 3 different times in the same conversation that all 3 mean something different, and they both are...
Yeah.
But that's 80... Well, not 80. It's like 60 years of being together, like, zeroed in. Like,
I think that's what we're turning into.
We're getting there. Can imagine us in 50 years, we're like... We'll hate each other, but we'll be on top of it.
I'm gonna be like I need my own. We're gonna be sleep divorced. I don't think so.
No, we'll just have a. We'll have to get like. I think we'd have to get like the sleep number, whatever the ones where it's the different sides can adjust independently of each other. Mm-hmm. I think that would be our future.
Maybe if it were less expensive.
Well, I'm sure in like 50 years when we'd need it, it would be. Mm-hmm. Technology. Things just keep getting cheaper. Mm-hmm.
All right, ready? Yes. Next one is Facebook statuses. We can't hide people's updates, or we can hide people's updates. Therefore, you are. Ooh, I hate. They spelled therefore wrong. Ugh, gross.
Grammar?
Not great. They spelled it there and then FOR, not FORE. That's not good.
No.
You are a glutton for punishment if you continue to let. I love my niece Nancy post 100 of pictures of a baby that is not hers on your timeline. You let I'm a rapper, check out my new music mark. Continue to spam your feed with his low budget crappy lyricized jams. That's on you, pal. We can block their updates. We have the technology.
I think that's an older Facebook problem, but there is stuff when people post like the same things consistently, or like you have a distant friend that it's awkward to like unfriend them or unfollow them. Like, you used to think when like very politically charged relatives would post things that, like, you're kind of uninformed. I don't want to get in an argument with you right now, but I can't unfriend you because we're family, so I'm just going to unfollow you and not see your stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's what I do.
But it's like, this seems like, and sometimes it's nice. Like, we have friends like who post, like, baby pictures, pet pictures, and we're fine with that.
I like seeing that
I don't
stuff.
mind it.
It's just sometimes when people complain on there, like,
some people,
they're, like, attention seeking, and it's just like,
that one is always, I'm like, we can't help you. You're just venting to Facebook, which does none of us any good. Now, I don't need to know about your strife. We're not that close. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sorry, but no.
But that's when we unfollow.
But sometimes then they post something that you actually wanted to see, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Did you see that thing I posted? Real. Like, no.
Oh no, because you were.
I don't know. My newsfeed changes so much. I just miss things. I'm sorry. What was it?
Yeah, is that the excuse?
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, what's the...
Oh, next one this is definitely something I will gladly complain about any day, anytime, any place.
Okay.
Typos and grammatical errors. At the end of life...
You just complained about it and therefore...
I know, that's why I agree with it. At the end of life, you'll probably regret all the times you wasted obnoxiously pointing out an accidental your, unless you actually taught it to someone who didn't know the proper use, in which case you are an awesome person. And they did it again! They did the typo and grammar.
In the typo and grammar one!
I know.
That's so funny. Yep,
Okay, like, so here's the thing. Like, I don't, like... It's not like when people are talking, I'm like, oh, you said, like... oh, I'm doing good. Like, oh no, you should be saying,
you have a written
well.
grammar problem.
I have a written grammar. Like, if you're writing, that's where you really need to. Plus, I'm a teacher, so yeah, I'm gonna be looking for that kind of stuff. Anyway,
Your mom and book smart. Remember when she's in the bathroom and sees the graffiti, like the graffiti that's just like it corrects it, but still does graffiti on the bathroom wall.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's important because, like, you don't want to sound like a dumbass when you're trying to, like, interview for a job, like, or like on your resume. You don't want a grammatical error or a typo. Like, that's just. I feel like some people will, like, see that and they'll be like, all right, garbage, or like. Like, when you're, like, a writer, you've got to have someone look at your stuff and...
Especially because people get so trusting of, like, spelling check that, oh, it's spelled correctly, and it sounds right in your head, but it's still wrong. It doesn't know what you meant to say.
And that's why I don't like, I try to instill in the children that I have, that don't just rely on yourself to edit. You need to have someone else look at it, because you've probably been looking at the same page of work or whatever for at least a good chunk of time, like at least an hour or two, or maybe more sometimes. Like, you're not going to catch yourself on everything. That's why you need fresh eyes to look at your stuff and be like, oh, you didn't. The biggest thing now is, like, capitalization. I don't know why these kids don't capitalize.
At all?
They're small eyes. Like, I am. No.
Little eye?
Uh-huh.
Weird.
And I'm like, you got, like, I always use
Proper eye.
Yeah, I'm like, you're important. That's why I need to be capitalized. When you're talking about yourself, you're important in that sentence. Capital I. Yeah, but I think it's mostly, and I don't know where it went wrong, because I don't think any teachers really, like, stopped teaching capitalization. It's like, why is this getting lost? And now we're in 8th grade. No, they're reintroducing it now, but, like,
the kids now are kind of in the gap. They didn't learn it in 2nd grade.
Or 3rd or whatever. And it's just like, I don't know, it's frustrating for me, because I'm like, every teacher teaches these things, but why are you not using them? Because I'm worried, like, when they go into, like, high school or other, like, higher education and whatever, it's like... You need it. And if you can't do it, like, the colleges are just going to look at you and laugh and throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand the accidental, but doing it, like, 6 times in a paper, come on.
Right.
That's the eternal struggle of an English teacher. That's kind of what it is. Do you have
major misspellings sometimes, too?
Oh, always.
Like,
there's some
letters
kids,
switched around.
Like, there's a kid that I have that has zero concept of spelling, and it's like, I look at his... Luckily, I have a typo. Yeah, phonetically it kind of sounds right. And it's like, he has to type things because his handwriting is so horrendous that you can't even make out what he's trying to say. And, like, it's just, like, even still, like, if you, looking at his writing, you'd think he, like, it was in a different language.
Yeah, that's
like, oh my gosh.
Lovely.
It's like, where did spelling tests go? Where were you? Where were you when these spelling tests were going on, and grammar quizzes and whatever?
Oh, man,
it's
definitely
ridiculous. Now they look at, and then the kids look at me funny, because I'm like, oh yeah, like, sometimes I think it's funny when I find an error in, like, a textbook, and they all just look at me like I've got 3 heads. I'm like, and it might just be because I'm weird and I read a lot, but it's like,
right.
It's like, everyone makes mistakes, and it's funny when the professionals make mistakes. Mm-hmm. At least in my mind. Yeah. Okay.
So what's next?
This one's a weird one. I don't know about this one either. It says, someone liking them too much. The clinger label is thrown around too freely these days, as anyone willing to show their interest is at risk to be criticized in ways that insinuate they're being creepy. Stalking is far different from someone texting you twice in a row or sending flowers at a point you felt was too soon.
So high school.
Tell them you don't feel the same, or pipe down and enjoy someone admiring your ungrateful behind.
I think that sounds really high school to me, and I don't think that's an adult problem.
Yeah, I don't think that's an adult
unless
problem.
you have an overly clingy, like, Tinder date or something, or, like, someone who, like, will just message you incessantly, but neither of us have had that experience because we got together before Tinder was a thing. Mm-hmm. Or as Tinder was a thing.
Yeah, it was kind of like the beginnings of it.
And we never did it, it's just, yeah.
But it's just like, I like the texting twice. I mean, that's so...
Double texting, I know, is a pet peeve of yours.
No, not really, not anymore. It used to be, but now it's like... it's like when it becomes more than twice. Like if someone's really like badgering you to answer back, like that gets annoying. But like, because you have to understand people have lives, and you know, like for me, I'm a teacher, so it's like if I'm not wearing pockets in my clothing, I'm not gonna have my phone.
Your phone's like in your desk.
Yeah, it's in my desk, and I won't get to it until lunchtime. And even at lunchtime, there's a chance I won't get to it. You know,
like even like that's why I don't like text during the day, because unless there's something like I need you like whenever you get to, just let me know. Like, I'll call you before I'll text you, because usually that'll get a faster response, or at least puts it more that, oh, this is important.
Yeah, but I don't know. And sometimes I feel like I'm the one that's like someone texting you twice, and
right. I don't know. I don't think I have that issue too much. I know people who do not like unresponsive contact really get, like, if they send a text and no response, they will send like 5 other texts to be like, hey. Like, no, that just really doesn't help the situation at all.
But then you've got the other side too, where you send them a text and they never respond.
The ghosting,
and then you're like, oh, you see them in person. Oh, did you get my text? Yeah, I did. You never responded. Like,
what the hell?
What?
There's a dog in our yard.
Really? Where? I think that's our neighbor's dog.
Both of them.
Both of them. How did they get over the fence?
That
is so weird. I love it.
Let me deal with that. You...
oh, they're pooping in our yard. What is this nonsense?
Alright, you keep talking.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Don't let Max up. That's hilarious. Look at dog.
What are you two doing?
I love that. Anyway, yeah. How did they get over our fence? I can't believe they got him out there. That is so funny. Okay, but yeah, I think that I think I would complain more about the people that don't respond rather than the ones that respond too much. Speaking of that, all right. So the next one is Mondays. It says, come on, unless you raged all the way through Sunday, you're probably more refreshed than normal. If anything, Wednesdays deserve all the flack we give Monday. My hump day, it already feels like we've been working for 5 days, and sleep deprivation may have a chance to set in.
You're welcome.
So what happened?
The gate was open and they ran around just smelling the other dogs.
Well, at least they didn't get very...
outside.
Yeah, good thing they didn't go very far. They just shit and laugh.
Those ladies.
They're cute,
Max
but I'm
didn't
like...
see them. I don't think he's in the...
I think he's sleeping.
I think he's in the bed.
But anyway, so the next one's Mondays. And they're, like, people complain about Mondays. Like, okay,
that wake up on a Monday.
There's some validity to that. Mm-hmm. And in a way that it's so hard to get back. Especially if you have if we have a relaxing weekend, then that's different. But, like, it's like... If we don't, it's just, I think it's valid to complain about Mondays.
There's not enough coffee on a Monday morning.
Exactly. But, I mean, it wouldn't be like a top one of mine, but I'd say it's still valid. And I agree with the person that says Wednesday deserves all the flack. I totally agree with that.
Right.
Because sometimes when a Wednesday gets here, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is the longest day of the week, and I just want this to end, and blah, 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 blah. And I feel like that's usually, even though for me it's a shorter day with kids, it's like, the day is longer, in my opinion, because we have meetings afterwards, and it's just like, what the heck? Anyway. Oh, here's one that you might like. Spoilers online. If you go on Twitter week after week during the East Coast airing of your favorite shows, yet you're not watching, you deserve all the rotten, rancid, spoiled plot you're served with. I mean, I kind of agree with that, but...
Yeah, there's shows that, like, obviously, I did a whole thing about this on my other show a while back when Game of Thrones was about to end. That, like, I had every finale spoiled because it was one of the shows that you and I were watching together, and Game of Thrones one we started before we even lived together, so we watched it very sporadically. Mm-hmm. Even now, like, we live together, but, like, with the lives we live, we don't have time to, like, binge a show, or even, like, we luck to watch an episode or 2 a week. Mm-hmm. We're lucky. Like, we just finished... What did we just finish?
Haunting of Hill House.
We just finished Haunting of Hill House. That thing's been out for almost a year. Mm-hmm. And we just now finished it. Like, Stranger Things, luckily we were on a plane we were kind of captive on a trip, so we had nothing else we could do. That's the only reason we were able to finish Stranger Things so
I just
fast.
Can't, like...
I
love to binge occasionally, but we just don't have the time anymore to just, like, binging.
And you used to have a thing about, like, you'd only could do, like, 2 at a time at max. And that's still pretty much the case.
Yeah, I
You
just,
need,
like,
you
I don't
tune
wanna
out
get,
after a while.
Yeah, I just get uninterested, and, like, sometimes I feel like it's, like, a waste of my time. Like, oh,
Right.
I watched 2 episodes of this, well, what do I do now? Like, I should be doing X, Y, Z, but, you know.
Right. 'Cause I feel like, yeah, like, when we've, like, if we said, like, watch them, like, rent a movie and watch on a weeknight or watch something, I feel like that's our whole night. Because, like, you get home to dinner, you put the movie on, oh, it's 2 hours, and it's like, oh, well, it's 8:30. Your time to shower and kind of wind down for the day. You're not going to do anything else productive.
Exactly. All right, next one. I know this one is totally valid to complain about. Waking up in the morning.
Oh, that was today.
Indeed, it can be a grueling process, but what? Would you have rather not woken up? Considering all the crap that could possibly go wrong in every passing second, we should probably begin each day jumping for joy that everything we know is still intact. Since that'll never happen, we can at least try to hold off on the scoffing at another day of existence. Okay, like, so I kind of get that, but let's face it, if you have to wake up at like 5 or 6 in the morning every Monday through Friday, like, that sucks. And, like, just when you're on little to no sleep, I will gladly complain all morning long about how I'm tired, and
Right.
I wish there was a way to, like, restfully, like, I know that there's all these sleep calculators and blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, if you don't get a good sleep, my morning is going to be shit, you know? More or less.
Yeah, it's yeah, I definitely get that. There's days, like, especially after a weekend, like, same thing with Mondays, like, you just feel like you never get enough sleep, and sometimes, like, I feel like you got extra sleep on purpose, and you just wake up like, just like, just can't motivate myself.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing, is motivation. You're like, my bed is too comfy, and,
Like,
you know.
yeah, I feel like I just need 5 more minutes. You repeat your alarm, then another alarm goes off, and you're like, oh, I didn't even feel like it was, I, like, blinked and 20 minutes passed. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. Alright, number 13. This one's a weird one.
Is this the last one?
No, there's 15, I think.
Okay.
Or no, 16.
Alright.
Yeah. Weird. Anyway, Nickelback, Justin Bieber, Twilight, Miley Cyrus. The twerking, la da dee,
very
la
2013.
da dee. We like to party. The jokes are played out, and you can just not listen or watch. Also, I don't even think Nickelback is that bad. There, I said it. I hear worse music every single day.
True.
You're telling me that Pitbull is better at music than Nickelback? Flo Rida, Soulja Boy? Exactly. I mean, I think it's
so
just like it's a
2013.
joke. Like, everyone
Yeah.
jokes about, like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Stop
don't mind
being so
Nickelback.
goddamn
I don't mind
sensitive.
Nickelback. There's a lot of music I'd rather listen to than any of that, but there's not, like, if it came on, I'm not going to shut it off.
Yeah, it's a
There's
joke.
very few genres of music I hate, very few artists I hate. But yeah, like, and everyone has an occasional banger. Even Miley Cyrus.
Give it a chance. Ooh, this one. Hangovers. We should all be granted one pass to complain about hangovers, and that's the first time we ever drink. After that, you know exactly what you're doing, so don't be shocked the next morning when you feel like the Grim Reaper is beating you over the head with last night's tequila bottle.
Yep.
I drank until it was less like fun and more like poisoning my own body. I poisoned myself. Now everybody hear my complaints and pay me in attention or sympathy.
The only time I feel like that annoys me is when people regularly complain about their hangovers because they drink to a hangover point often.
Every time. Yeah, I agree.
Like, that's when I'm like, just stop. Like, you obviously don't know your tolerance level. You don't, or you're just actively doing this yourself. You have no right to complain anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if you're a serial hangover person, like, that's just ridiculous.
I feel like you and we get hangovers very sparingly. Like, I haven't, like, even, like, days I've, like, had more than I feel like I should have had, I have not been, like, hungover the next day. I've been, like, a little more tired than usual, but never, like, the light hurts my eyes hungover. I think that's only happened once, and that's when I tried that freaking homemade amaretto that caused me to die a little inside and outside in every which way.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of fun. Okay.
Alright, 15. Handling things that they're supposed to handle. While everyone else is out drinking, I'm handling business and staying in to finish work. So you pass on festivities to tend to responsibilities. Isn't the world supposed to collectively dance and congratulate your handling of things you're accountable for? Do you want me to call Debbie Fields so she can fly to Pepperidge Farms and bake you the best cookie ever? Should I text Christian Bale and have him angrily, sarcastically congratulate you? I don't know. Sometimes I don't really get this one, but I think, I don't know. You have to pick your battles. And I feel like, yeah, you're entitled to some complaining when it comes to that, because sometimes you really don't want to, but your moral compass is like, you have to, you know, and you can't really, like, it's like you gotta decide what's important. That's kind of the biggest thing.
Right.
What are your priorities? And if you do want to go out, how can you make that priority go away so that you can have your fun, you know?
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest thing in that one, at least for
agree.
me. And the last one, people complaining. On that note, it's probably best that I quit complaining about the things other people should stop complaining about. The Giant Paradox has been brought to you by the Department of the Redundancy Department. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're a, like, chronic complainer, it can get really, really annoying. Like, really fast. It's just like, I don't know. It's just something that is just, it is what it is. But if you're a kind of complainer, just leave me out of it. That's all. Hello?
Yeah, sorry.
Someone's distracted.
Yeah, that's not good. Complaining.
Yeah. So, actually, when I was looking at what you should be complaining about, we could probably just make it up on ourselves. What should we complain about?
The state of the world.
Basically.
The fact that the Amazon is probably still on fire.
Yeah, the fact
but
that...
no one cares anymore.
The fact that people are putting plastic in the ocean and species are dying, and the fact that Flint probably still doesn't have clean water, and the fact that most of the world doesn't have clean water, and the fact that kids have to be worried about going to school and being shot at.
Right. And so the fact that, like, preschoolers need to know what to do in the event of a school shooting is sad. Like,
and the fact that we have to have active shooter drills now that they're having certain schools do, like, that doesn't make you feel safe. And people are like, well, why are attendance rates low? Well, yeah, some of these kids don't want to come to school, and I don't blame you.
You can see the appeal of homeschooling at that point, because at least, like, and I'm not going to get into an argument about the whole gun control debate. That's for another show, but definitely feel like it's ridiculous that these kids who are barely learning how to function as people outside of their parents have to deal with this extra level of stress. Like, I've even seen, like, teachers talk about how, like, they'll do drills with teachers that involve, like, someone with, like, a paintball gun shooting, and how, like, what it would sound like, and how to barricade your room, and all this stuff. Like, yeah, stuff like bulletproof book bags, like, that stuff that's, like, should not be a thing.
Well, and then what was it? I was talking to my mom today about this, and it really, like, kind of rang true to me. Like, when it comes to, it was basically about vaping. Like, now people are like, these government officials are so worried about vaping, but it's like, okay, they're quick to action on that, but they're not quick to action on, like, regulating guns. Like, really? Like, what the hell? Like,
it's all lobby money.
It's just like, I don't know. I don't understand the logic at all.
I'm definitely down with it's just because the people that vote and all this stuff, that all these are not working for the people. They're working for their own self-interest and their pocket, because lobbyists tend to pay to get their own agenda across, and that's what people are hearing. They're not hearing the voice of the people they were elected to represent. And that's something to complain about. Complain to your senators, your congressmen, to do their job and not care about their own self-interest.
Because, I mean, really, having all these different, like, detrimental shootings, like, in the past, 10, 12 years, even further back than that, it's like, why didn't anybody think, oh, we should stop that? Like, people in Europe, I feel like we look like the dumbasses, because people in Europe, like, they figured it out.
Right.
They've got their restrictions in place.
I mean, they still have the occasional incident, like, knife attacks and all this stuff, but, like, it's not to the same level. Like, no one's going to bust a window out of an LA casino and shoot up a whole concert event if things are more restricted.
It's ridiculous. Like, literally, how hard is it to ask someone for a background check before giving them a gun?
Look, I have as many guns as you like, but just get it safely, get it make sure you're mentally stable to have it, and yeah, check them. Like, if I have a car and I don't have it registered, and I leave it in the driveway, it can get towed away because it's not up to date. Like, some of the stuff should be like repeatedly checked. Like, nothing to say that like, oh, you have like this like 10 guns and you were fine, but then like you had a bunch of personal turmoil, and maybe it helps to get checked up on to maybe you make sure you're still physically and like mentally able to hold those guns. Mm-hmm. And if not, maybe take them away.
I agree.
It's opening a can of worms because some people are so thinking that like some people who want stricter gun control want to take away their guns. Like, I could care less. Everyone should have a gun, but only people who are able, and like,
it's not that we want guns to go away. We just want them to be safe. Like, we want to live in a world where we don't have to worry about going to Walmart and getting shot at, or going to the movie theater and getting shot at. Because nowadays it's like, you never know.
Well, you see all like the instances of people who, like, kids that'll hurt or kill themselves or a relative because guns were improperly stored at home. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like you should have proof of gun safe ownership before you can buy a gun.
Yeah, gun safety class certification, background check.
Like, I feel like that's all, like...
This is stuff, like, we do this for a car.
Yeah, I feel like a car is a good example.
Like, why can't we do that for guns? We do the exact same thing for cars.
You already have to get a FOID card. You already have to, it's just a little extra things, and then, like, once you have it done, then you can... Then
be
you're
on
good.
Your merry way.
Have as many guns as you want.
Yeah. Solving the world problems on adulting ain't easy.
Yeah, we don't normally delve into that. We kind of stay usually more lighter or more, but it's still worth bringing up, and
stuff that you should complain about. That's right. I definitely think that is something to complain about.
Right. I will say the people that, I don't know. There is one thing else that people complain about is, like, when people complain about a certain thing that people should be, like, caring about more, but you see them more preaching it than practicing what they preach. Mm-hmm. It's like, you should be using plastic silverware, you shouldn't be using straws, but then you'll see them like, well, they had straws, I'm just they're just being a sounding board to make themselves look better than actually wanting to be better. Mm-hmm. The fake outrage people are kind of what annoy me too. Mm-hmm. I don't know, I think that's worth, but I think that'll do it for this week, unless you have anything else you'd like to add.
No, that's good.
Alright, that will do it for Adulting Ain't Easy, Season 2, Episode 10. I'm not sure how many more we're doing. I know Foodies is about to wrap up. We're going to be filming the finale here in a few days. And then we'll probably do this until maybe winter break time for you, probably. Then come back sometime late spring or something. I don't know. We'll just kind of see how the rest of this season shakes out, but definitely thank you for listening. We will be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Until then, have fun adulting. Bye, guys.